And there have been questions swirling around both the June and November 2020 elections due to the CDC physical distancing COVID-19 guidelines. How will votes be recorded? All from home, or is it even possible that the November election could be delayed? LEX 18's Claire Kopsky spoke with an elections expert and brings us more in this coronavirus coverage.
Voting. It's one of the core pieces that makes our country a democracy. Due to the pandemic, Kentucky delayed the primary election to June 23rd, while the Board of Elections deciphers how Kentuckians will vote without violating CDC guidelines.
My expectation is that anyone who wants to vote via mail, anyone who wants to vote absentee, will be able to do so. I believe there'll be an online portal where voters can request an absentee ballot. The state, I believe, also plans to mail something to every voter, whether it's an informational postcard or I've advocated for actually an absentee ballot request form.
Josh Douglas is a professor at the University of Kentucky Law School and specializes in election law and voting rights.
What happens in November, I think we need to wait to see if we're still, dealing with the pandemic and what the plan is for that. But there at least, will be an infrastructure in place from being used in June. So many of our norms have been upended over the past several years, but the U.S. Constitution very explicitly gives Congress and only Congress the authority to set the date of the presidential election. The president has no authority to do so.
He says delaying the November election is unlikely.
Absolute latest point is in the Constitution, which is that statute that Congress receives the Electoral College votes by January 6th and counts them. And then on January 20th is when the president's first term ends. So there's nothing that Congress could do beyond January 20th.
In the meantime, Douglas says all should go to govoteky.com to make sure they're registered to vote. He says there may be a pandemic, but we're still a democratic nation.
No one gets anointed as the nominee or as the president. We actually vote, and we will be doing so even during a pandemic.
The Kentucky State Board of Elections is meeting this morning via Zoom. Many are hoping they'll come to a final decision on what the primary election will look like for voters here in Kentucky in June. You can watch that meeting live this morning at electky.gov at 10 o'clock. Back to you.